Okay, that's very important because I was reading your profile and you talk a lot about social justice. Do you believe in a world where social justice is a given, and how to build a responsible community?
I don't think it is a given at this moment, but I hope it's not too far into the distant future that we can see that social justice is given. To build this actually is very simple actually. It's written in the Bible. Treat your neighbor as how you treat yourself. I mean, I remember very well that my grandmother, everyone in the neighborhood knows her. You have any trouble, you go to my grandmother, and neighbors will come over and keep your clothes if it's raining when you're not around, and neighbors just look after each other. So imagine if you can tell your youth or your kids at home that yes, turning up the volume will make the movie better, but how about your neighbor? How would they feel if they are listening to that? So we need to start getting our youth and young to start looking at their neighbors, and then only then I think we can build this community. I do not think that people who neglect their neighbors are able to do good ESG work or impact work from the heart.
You are very good on supporting startups, on co-creating startups as well. What are the main skills that a successful entrepreneur has to have, according to your experience?
I think I alluded to a little bit just now. It's a selling skill, which comes with that language of grace. Do you have the best thought for your people, for the person you're selling to? Are you willing to actually go and do the hard work, which is selling? So I've been asked to judge in a lot of startup competition, and I only ask one question: who's going to sell this thing that you have? The moment they tell me they're going to hire someone to do the selling, I know they're not in for the hard work, the tough work that comes with selling. So selling is one. Are you able to build trust in a short period of time? So it's like the car conversation I had. Can you be honest with yourself? Be honest with your answer. And what are you trying to do out here? Are you trying to solve a problem, or are you trying to build a multi-million-dollar unicorn? So you have to be honest. If you're going to build a multi-million unicorn, then I don't think it's going to go very far. So selling skills, are you able to be graceful to people? Are you able to be kind? And to be honest with yourself. It's actually the same value that I hold on to, actually, that we want to see in the founders.
So Ivan, I got two questions then. So if somebody is very good on selling, but the product itself or the service which is selling has not much value, or if it's a product not much quality, but still an entrepreneur knows to build trust, rapport, and is a good seller, do you still reckon that even though the service is delivering is very low quality and the product maybe is not even a good one, they can still succeed?
I don't think so, because it goes back to the same page again. It's like, do you have this language of grace in you, this buddhi bahasa in you? If you really want things to be good for the other person, you will walk in and say, no, my stuff is not ready for you. You shouldn't buy it from me. And many times, I've done that actually. I've told customers that you shouldn't be buying from me, because then they get angry because I tell them you're not ready to buy, because after you buy, you have a lot of issues that comes with it. We can never be friends. And recently I just went back and see a good dear friend of mine, a professor in Hong Kong U, and she started introducing me to all her researcher that works for her, and they look me up and down. They think that I've just known her for maybe 2 years. I say, we probably know each other for 13 years, longer than some of the researchers that have been working for her. And they asked me, how do you get to know Dr. So-and-so? I say, I was trying to sell her this e-learning platform, Blackboard, almost 13 years ago. And so you managed to sell to her, right? I said, no, she didn't buy from me, but we became friends because I was very honest with her. You shouldn't be buying this. And I've met her when she was not even pregnant. Today she has 3 children. And they're all one of them is going to university. So I think if you have this language of grace, you will really think for the other person. You wouldn't want to sell something that's substandard.
Well, it's interesting, dear Ivan, because in a world that people try to sell even their mother, their soul, and the sister and brother, to be so client service focused in order to say, I'm solving a problem, or I'm here to serve you. It's even spiritually wise, it's amazing. It's quite rare to hear from a salesperson. I'm sure you're not the only one, but it's a good quality yours. And if you're really able, as you look like, to stick to the plan, you believe that once you are very, as you said at the very beginning of the interview, very honest and true to yourself, in some way, somehow, life always gives you back. Am I correct?
Let me just give you an example of the Support Genius project. So we wanted only individuals to give us money, but there's this individual that keep giving us money, and she gave up to 25,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is equivalent to say about 20 kids, almost 20 child. And then my partner says that we should ask her out for lunch and say thank you. So we got her out for lunch, and the first time I met her, she's like your ordinary young grandmotherly person, not the power suit career woman. Then we met up and then we had lunch and the conversation went very well. We had coffee, and out of the blue my business partner said, oh, you should tell her about this book idea that you have. And then I told her that I have this idea to write this book about how to get corporates to be innovative, like startups. And she says like, oh, you should write a book. And then, yes, but I don't know who to talk to, which publisher to reach out to. I said, oh, you can contact my agent. She actually had written 2 books for Hong Kong company law, and she has an agent that helps her publish books in the UK. 2 weeks later, she reached out to me and said, did Nigel call you? I said, no, maybe he's not interested. No, let me call him. Call him, and then cut the story short, we got a book contract to write a book. And I took 6 months, waking up 5 a.m. in the morning, 300 words a day. I wrote a book. First time ever I've written anything so long. And the book got published. It's sold to university libraries. I found a copy in the Chinese University of Hong Kong, where I've been mentoring for 10 years. Recently, a friend of mine found a copy at the Royal Danish Library. And just before I came back, I just Googled Kinokuniya to see if I can find a copy there. And sure enough, I had a title there as well. The book is at the Kinokuniya shop.
How is that feeling?
It's always serendipitously. I think God will find moments like that for you to meet certain people. And if you are being genuine, being graceful, good things happens. And it's so exciting. You don't know what's going to come next when you do all these things. I
really resonate with you, Ivan, on that. Okay, Ivan, we know that you are very sensitive to new technologies. We share a passion, which is blockchain technology, NFTs. So a guy like you, always so project to live in the present moment, but so looking forward to new technology. What do you think you're gonna miss the most in 20 years' time from now?
I think with ChatGPT, AI coming up, I think one of the things I've been nostalgic about will be about language learning. Going to get a book, to learn a language from a tutor. I mean, those days are going to be a past, because from now onwards, you probably don't need to really learn a language to communicate with people. But tools are going to get much better. You can speak in Italian and get translated to English, and I can speak in Malay and get translated back to Italian, and you can actually, we can understand each other without learning the languages. So I guess for me, I de-stress by learning languages. I think I'll be nostalgic about that in the future.
And you mean AI I need to speak, let's assume, through a device, and then immediately translates into Bahasa or Chinese or Cantonese. Through a device, you mean do AI?
Yeah. There are already tools that can do that, but it's not as intelligent yet. But ChatGPT is very good because it's generative AI. You can actually generate things that you don't need to tell it, because what they have today is really just purely translation. Get better at translation, but generative AI, I think they can do much more. So I'm quite excited to see what people can come up with actually.
That could be another topic. Actually later, when we finish here, I'm going to ask you, what's your take about AI? We have the last question. So Ivan, what is the one thing you want really to change about the world?
I think one of the things that I really would like to see changes, or I like to initiate a change, would be how we look at success, or how do we value success. So today, if you come from an Ivy League university, you have a bigger voice. People will listen to you. Or if you come from a successful big company, you have a voice. People will listen to you. Or your startup is a unicorn. People will look up to you and listen to you. But I think we shouldn't do that. We should actually evaluate a person's success purely based on certain values. For example, the content of his character or her character, the content of his idea or her idea. I mean, you don't have to bother where she comes from. She can be an O-level student, but she may give you very good innovative ideas and creative ideas. So what I really want to see is that everyone has a voice. And for that voice to be heard, we, the listener, needs to start changing our paradigm shift. We need to change and say, look, we need to see and hear the idea for its idea, not because there's a Harvard or a certain Ivy League university that comes with it. I really would like to see that change, actually.
And we truly hope that, because it will be much more democratic, and you don't need to be like having already authority to share opinions and share good ideas. Yes. So in this beautiful note, I will close right here the interview. Thanks again, and we truly wish you all the best personally and professionally for your career. And thanks again for joining, and have a pleasant flight back, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow to Hong Kong.
Yes, my wife is calling me home. Well, thanks again for having me here today, Prof. Rossini, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
Our truly pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.